Hello everyone, Phil Snyder with GunClassUtah.com. Hey, today we got a good gun safety lesson to bring to you based on a real live incident that happened November 30th, 2024, yesterday. KSL news story, Salt Lake City man, 21, arrested after accidentally shooting friend, police say. So what happened was these two young adults were handling a pistol, and the victim removed the magazine from the handgun that had the bullets in it, and they thought the gun was empty. So the friend of the victim is handling the firearm, and they decide to dry practice. And so the friend told the police that he had the gun pointed at a 45-degree angle, and he didn't believe that he was pointing it at his friend in front of him. And he pulled the trigger to dry fire, and the gun went off and struck the victim, critically injuring him, but he's going to be okay. The police charged the friend, even though they both admitted that it was accidental, charged the friend with reckless endangerment, which is a Class A misdemeanor, and unlawful discharge of a firearm within city limits. This occurred in their backyard of their home. So the maximum penalty for a Class A misdemeanor would be $2,500 fine and up to a year in jail. And for the misdemeanor B, it would be a fine of up to $760 and 6 months in jail. All for a careless mistake or ignorant mistake, we don't really know which one it is, for not properly clearing that gun. So we just didn't clear that chamber, and that was the problem. So I got a gun here in a holster, and it's loaded full of snap caps for purposes of this demonstration. But this is how you properly clear a handgun. So this is in a holster. We got the magazine in it, right? We take the gun out of the holster with the finger off the trigger, being mindful not to cover our hand when we pull that out of the holster, okay? Pointing that gun downward in a safe direction, or whatever that safe direction is. First thing you do is you remove the magazine. Those are the snap dummy caps I was telling you about. So this is where they stopped. However, one of the rules of gun safety is you assume that all guns are loaded until you competently prove otherwise. Important word, until you competently prove otherwise. Now, we don't know if these guys had a lack of training or if they didn't follow that rule, assuming the chamber was empty. We really don't know, but you have to clear that chamber. So you're going to cant that gun to the right. This is a forward-facing camera. It's going to show left, but we are canting that to the right. And we rack that slide back 3 times, and I saw a dummy round come out of there. Now we have to lock our slide back to visually, with our eyes, inspect that chamber. This is what they should have done. So you lock that slide, and then you look in there with your eyeballs, and you have to visually inspect that chamber. Okay, and there's a little hole. For those of you that have taken my pistol class, know what I'm talking about. And I wish I had a pen for a little pointer. But you could probably, on that camera, see that little hole that I'm talking about. See that little feeding ramp? And then you can also put your finger in there if you're comfortable doing that to inspect that chamber. But that's what you're looking for, right in there. You see that hole there, okay? It's right there. Right there. Once you verified that gun is clear, like it is, now you won't have a problem. And you could drop your slide, and then you could dry fire. The other mistake they made is they pointed the gun in an unsafe direction. Obviously, it was unsafe because it struck his friend and he was critically injured. So he probably had his friend standing in front of him and he had it down. He thought it was down enough, but it wasn't. We don't know where it struck him, but you got to be aware of that muzzle, is what that muzzle is covering. And so he probably just should have had it down more, or even maybe in opposite direction. But no doubt, the main major danger cause of the problem was pointing in an unsafe direction. And the secondary problem was he didn't clear the gun. So you got to make sure you clear that chamber whenever you're doing that. I'm going to drop a dummy round in here in the gun just to kind of show you what it looks like when you do have a loaded chamber. And now, see, you can easily see that's where the bullet goes in. And that's how you know. This unfortunate friend is now going to, if they don't represent themselves, which is not advisable, they're going to have to hire an attorney to represent them in the district court, and that Class A misdemeanor is big boy court where all the felonies go. Probably going to spend a minimum of $5,000 for a retainer, and I'm sure it's going to go probably around the neighborhood of $10,000 if it doesn't go to a trial and they were able to settle it during, for some sort of a plea agreement or something like that. Probably going to pay $10,000 in legal fees. If they're a first-time offender, they've got a clean record. They're probably not going to do any more jail time other than the time they spent in jail when they were booked by the police, which they were. And the judge is more than likely, and this is very common for judges to do when there's accidental discharges like this, they are going to, as part of the sentencing, require the defendant to attend a gun safety class. And judges have actually referred people to my classes. And my base recommendation is an 8-hour NRA basic pistol course. Okay, and that is a cost of $150. So if that person had taken a NRA basic pistol class from a competent instructor, this would not have happened. We're assuming that they were not careless, because if they received that amount of training and then there was a discharge like that, that would be careless. The pistol classes are good because not only does the instructor show you how to properly clear a weapon, but you have to demonstrate it in order to receive a certificate to be signed off that you're safe with a gun. And so a lot of concealed carry classes, the instructors will show you how to make a weapon safe, but they don't have the student is not required to actually demonstrate the skill. And from my experience teaching gun classes for 5 years, the student has to demonstrate it in front of an instructor several times before that task sometimes can be mastered to where it's done correctly. So if you're a gun owner, to avoid this problem, just go out and spend $150 on a pistol course. You might pay a little bit more. Our regular price is $250, but we give a discount for students that take the Utah class, and all of this can be avoided. Thanks for watching.